Hey y'all, this one's going to be a bit of a different video, but given how many of you have seemed concerned about my recent actions, I thought I'd make this upload to clear the air. This video won't really have any editing, and it will just be me talking to you guys, mainly about the future of this channel as a whole. I'd just like to say though that please watch this video to its fullest before forming an opinion, as many of the points bounce off and contradict each other. Alright, enough of that, let's just get right into it. As many of you probably noticed, and are probably unhappy with, I've started making videos on Grow a Garden, infamously the most popular and one of the most controversial games on the entire platform. This game is notorious for being, for lack of a better word, slop. If you just join the game, you'll notice that its visuals and gameplay appeal are absolute garbage, and I'm not contesting that. It isn't a fun game to play, so why am I making videos on it? Especially if I don't really care for it. Especially not to the degree I care for doors. Well, it is a little bit complicated. Grow a Garden is the most popular game of all time, and that isn't an understatement. This game is absolutely massive, and that shows especially with my viewer count. My very first video on Grow a Garden instantly became the second most viewed on my channel, and that is a major accomplishment for someone like me. I'm going to get a little personal here, but for a while I've been struggling with the feeling that I'm stuck. I've plateaued with my career on YouTube, and for the past few months, ever since September, I've seen no growth on my channel. Sure, I've gained an influx in subscribers, which I really appreciate from all of you. I'm very, very, very grateful for that and all the support I've received over the years. But my average viewer count hasn't increased at all, which at the end of the day is what truly matters for a reason I'll explain later. Sure, I see spikes in popularity when Doors updates, but Doors doesn't update all too often, so for large periods of time, I'm just stuck in a constant state, unable to move upwards and onwards despite everything I try. Now, at first, this didn't really matter. I was creating videos solely for the fun of it, and to some degree, I definitely still am. However, now things have changed a little. Through all of you viewers, I am now able to use this once hobby of mine as a source of income, which I am incredibly thankful for, as it means the world to me. I now have a job that I really enjoy doing, which was a goal of mine for a very long time. Unfortunately, this career isn't stable on just Doors content alone. You see, the way content creators make money off of YouTube is by getting views on videos. The more views you get, the more money you make. Simple as that. Subscribers, on the other hand, are more of a symbolic representation of how many true supporters you have. This means that given the current trend of how my YouTube channel has plateaued in viewer count, I will never be able to escape an unstable career, as my view count is simply too low. And that really stings, as I would really like to keep making YouTube videos well into my future, as I really enjoy it, but right now that just isn't possible. It also feels horrible on an emotional level, as all the hard work I put into this channel isn't resulting in any new progress, and that can really demotivate a person. That is where Grow Garden comes in. Despite this game's many, many, many flaws, it somehow brings in a lot of views. Not from this original Doors fanbase, but from an entirely new one, which means that's more funding for this channel, and it allows me to continue making videos well into the future. This is an absolute game changer, as it means my channel is able to grow beyond its plateaued state, which is extremely beneficial for obvious reasons. Now, this is likely because of how large the game is and how its player base is so extensive. But me choosing to cover it raises one main question, that being, why this game? There are loads of other popular Roblox games out there, like Forsaken for example, that are leagues better than the slop known as Grow a Garden. So why don't I cover something better? Well, that comes down to personal preference. Grow a Garden sucks, but in my own eyes, it sucks a little less than a lot of the other larger Roblox titles out there. Sure, many of you guys probably like Forsaken for example, but I personally don't really care for it. That's my own opinion, and I don't expect any of you Doors viewers to share it. I still want creating content on this channel to be an enjoyable experience for myself. So if that means creating videos on a game that a majority of people don't really care for, but I do, at least a little bit, that's a route I will prefer to take. Now, that naturally would result in a lot of you being unhappy, but I see it as being the best possible solution for all of us in this scenario, as I can still make videos on something I enjoy even if it isn't strictly Doors. So, with all of that being said, what does that mean for Doors content on this channel? I absolutely love Doors, there's no doubt about that. This game is genuinely one of the most well crafted and beautifully executed games of all time, at least in my eyes. But it pains me to an unfathomable level that creating content on it alone isn't sustainable. I still want to create many more videos on the game. However, given how that just isn't a viable long term option, that just isn't possible, at least not alone. That's why I've developed a plan to hopefully get the best of both worlds, so you original viewers as well as myself are happy with Doors content, whilst at the same time this channel becomes a stable career. So here's the plan. From now on, I've decided to create Doors and Grow Garden content in roughly equal amounts, with videos on each coming at the same rate. This naturally would mean that there are going to be a little less Doors videos to make room for Grow a Garden videos, which although you definitely will not be happy about, it is a necessary compromise to ensure this channel's longevity. Fortunately though, that schedule can change in favor of Doors. When Doors updates, the views I receive on videos spike massively, to a point where it becomes sustainable. This means that, for example, when the garden subfloor releases, I can make videos on that for a while, at least until the view count dies down. I will also be prioritizing Doors videos over Grow a Garden videos, so if something major happens in Doors, that will receive a video covering over it first, over just some run-of-the-mill Grow a Garden video. The same thing won't be present for Grow a Garden though, as I really don't care about when that game updates. At least on a content side. What this all means is that I'm sacrificing some time spent on making videos on a game I really love to make videos on a game I only partially like for an increased lifespan of this YouTube channel. And given how I personally view Grow a Garden to be better than a lot of the other front page Roblox games, this is the best possible outcome in my eyes to still make content I enjoy to produce. Now, I don't expect a lot of you to be supportive of this change. I completely understand that. I myself would prefer if it never even happened in the first place. However, given the way things currently are with how Doors alone just doesn't generate enough views to ensure the survival of this channel long term, I don't really see a better alternative. Grow a Garden being the biggest game of all time means it will not only likely be relevant for a long while, but also that it will hopefully save this channel from an unfortunate demise sometime later on down the road if I were just to continue making Doors content alone. It's also a game I relatively enjoy playing and making content over when compared to the other options for what else I could cover. And who knows, if that doesn't work out, it can always go back to being Doors content full time, which I would prefer in the first place. Now, as of making this video, I plan on releasing another Doors video tomorrow, but I just wanted to make this to explain why I went ahead with this controversial decision and what it means behind the scenes. You can always still just not watch the Grow Garden videos. I don't even expect you to. It's just for new people to come in to hopefully boost the view count and provide funding for the channel. Anyways, with all of that being said, thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully you at least understand a little bit my side of things for this whole decision I've went with.